Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tangmen based on novel. So let's start. Everyone else stood quietly at the side. At this moment, they didn't know how to comfort Huo Yuhao. Even though they could guess what had happened, they didn't want to believe it was the truth. Wang Qiu'er also appeared to be in a daze, as she carried Wang Dong'er. Tears streamed down her cheeks and dripped onto Wang Dong'er's body. Finally, Huo Yuhao crawled over in front of her. He tugged at her pants and wanted to get up to see Wang Dong'er. Wang Qiu'er squatted down and passed Wang Dong'er to Huo Yuhao. Right now, Wang Dong'er wasn't breathing. However, her eyes were wide open. Even though she was already dead, Huo Yuhao could still see the reluctance and yearning in her eyes. Dong'er, Dong'er, Huo Yuhao peered into the sky and wailed tragically. His hysterical voice echoed loudly in the air. Tears flowed down his face. He had broken down completely now. What happened? What happened after the projection disappeared? There's no conclusion from this duel between the two of you. Since this is the case, we'll use another method. Huo Yuhao is on the brink of death right now. He'll survive as long as one of you is willing to sacrifice your life for his. However, you must remember that he might end up with the other person if he survives and you die. This means that you might grant your love rival her wish if you sacrifice your life to save him. The two of you only have 3 seconds to decide. 3. Wang Qiu'er was in a daze. She subconsciously looked at Wang Dong'er and was stunned. There was a pair of milky white hands that radiated fearlessness. There was a pair of eyes that yearned for life and love. There was a sorrow that carried a sense of reluctance. There was a natural stroke of decisiveness that gave no regard for anything else. There wasn't any hesitation. There was no delay or waiting. It was just for Huo Yuhao, so that he could escape danger a second earlier. Wang Dong'er pressed her milky white hands against her forehead, and a blinding golden light shone. Her radiant butterfly goddess wings instantly changed into countless spots of light before dissipating. She wasn't looking at the sky, but at Wang Qiu'er. There was a look of pleading and exultation in her eyes. There was also a strong look of reluctance. Dong'er! Wang Qiu'er shouted, and she turned into a beam of flowing light before charging towards Wang Dong'er. She grabbed Dong'er before she collapsed to the ground. Wang Dong'er didn't hold back, as she attempted suicide. At this moment, there was no longer any vibrancy in her eyes. Blood oozed out from her pores too. However, there was also a tinge of satisfaction in her eyes even though she was reluctant. I have won. Tears flowed uncontrollably from Wang Qiu'er's eyes at this moment. You've won. Yes. You've won. Dong'er, Dong'er, don't die, you. Wang Dong'er smiled, but didn't shut her eyes. She looked into the sky instead, at the figure that had retracted his golden trident. She also looked at Huo Yuhao, who still hadn't risen to his feet. The bluish gold figure holding the trident seemed to be staring back at her. The light from his body dimmed, and he silently vanished from the sky. Wang Dong'er was trying to look at Huo Yuhao, even though she was slowly losing her life. However, she still couldn't bear to shut her eyes even as she was about to die. She still wanted to take a last look at Huo Yuhao. I really want to be your wife. I really want to be with you every moment. I really want to bear our kids. I really want to love you forever. I really want to. The shiny beads of tears in her eyes also seemed to turn powder blue as they streamed down Wang Dong'er's cheeks. Wang Qiu'er was in a daze as she lifted Dong'er up. Her tears continuously fell onto Wang Dong'er's clothes. As she watched Wang Dong'er slowly lose her life, she knew that she had lost. You win. You love him more than me. You can be completely selfless for him. At that moment, I actually wished that you would die for him so that I could be with him. I don't feel maligned losing to you. However, why am I in so much pain? Dong'er, I should be the one who's dying. I've lost. I've really, completely lost this time. You died for him, and I can't bring myself to lie to him. I've lost, and you've won. He'll only love one person in his entire life. It'll never change. Boundless golden light descended from the sky and quickly engulfed them. In the next moment, the stars realigned and time was distorted. She won. She used her life to tell me that she loves you more than me. She won. Wang Qiu'er was smiling bitterly as she stood up. Her body trembled as she turned around and walked away step by step. She walked toward the boundless golden world. No one stopped her. No one could stop her. No one had expected that the person to perish in this yin-yang love-querying valley would eventually be Wang Dong. Huo Yuhao hugged Wang Dong's body tightly. He only felt that his heart had left with her. At this moment, the others were surrounding him. Bei Bei squatted down and softly clasped Huo Yuhao's shoulder. However, no one was able to say any comforting words. Xiao Xiao and Jiang Nan were already crying miserably. Dormis dead. Dormis actually dead. She's dead because she wanted Yuhao to remain alive. Suddenly, Huo Yuhao lifted his head and opened his eyes wide. He shouted, Donga isn't dead. Donga isn't dead. This is the yin-yang love-querying valley. You can revive her, right? Right? Huo Yuhao looked into the sky. After this, he placed Wang Donga down beside him and crawled forward a bit before starting to kowtow. Please, please, revive Donga. I'm willing to exchange my life and spirit for hers. Please. He was crying his guts out at this moment. In just a few kowtows, Huo Yuhao's forehead was already bruising and bleeding. Shu Sanxia wanted to go forward to pull him up, but he was stopped by Bei Bei. Bei Bei knew that this was the only way in Huo Yuhao's eyes. The entire place suddenly lit up. Wang Qiu'er was dragged back by an irresistible force. Different streaks of light illuminated everyone's bodies, sealing them all. At this point, the indifferent voice that everyone was afraid of echoed forth. Dai Huobin, have you realized what you truly want after going through so much? Dai Huobin was stunned. He lifted his head into the sky and replied, I just want to be with my Lulu. Nothing else matters. Zhulu's injuries left him grief-stricken. However, he felt that he was very fortunate as he looked at Huo Yuhao and Wang Dong. At least Zhulu was still alive. You were drawn by beauty, but you managed to find yourself in the end. This shows that affection is important to you. You've passed your sincerity adventure round, and you'll be rewarded. Your reward will be a substitution of love. You can choose to move Zhulu's injuries to your own body to fully heal her. If you don't want to, you can choose to increase both yours and Zhulu's soul power by 5 ranks. After hearing the voice, Dai Huobin's eyes lit up. I choose to accept the substitution of love. Please begin. After hearing until here, even Huo Yuhao lifted his head. He was surprised as he looked at Dai Huobin and Zhulu. Substitution of love. If there's such a thing, does it mean I can substitute my own life for Dong's? He suppressed his sorrow and hugged Wang Dong tightly as he watched Dai Huobin and Zhulu's bodies change. A streak of golden light flashed by and landed on their bodies. Something strange occurred instantly. Dai Huobin's right arm vanished like melting ice, while Zhulu's right arm was slowly growing out. She was also trembling slightly. Dai Huobin seemed to be in great pain, but he didn't even look at his right arm. He only grit his teeth and bore the pain. It wasn't just his right arm that was experiencing changes. His face was also experiencing changes. It was starting to rot. Dai Huobin lowered his head to look at Zhulu. Seeing that her injuries were slowly healing, the look in his eyes turned gentler even though he was perspiring from the intense pain. Suddenly, the golden lights that engulfed them became stronger before vanishing along with the two of them. Shu Sanxia, you were willing to give up your future as a soul master for love. It's very touching. You are also filled with kindness. You've passed your sincerity adventure round. I believe you've already obtained the best reward that you could possibly get. Shu Sanxi's gaze shifted away from Huo Yuhao and Wang Dong. He nodded and said, yes, I've obtained the best reward. I'll treasure Nan Nan in the future. Jiang Nan, you've also rid yourself of the trauma in your heart. You are gentle and kind, but you couldn't fulfill your filial duties because of what happened to you. But Shu Sanxia fulfilled them for you, and thus you've also passed. Compared to Shu Sanxi's complete awakening of his Xuanwu, your reward will be less grand. Your soul power will be increased to rank 60. You can go and find a suitable soul ring now. A huge beam of golden light descended from the sky and engulfed them. Jiang Nan also lit up with white halos. As the light flashed, the two of them disappeared. Rewards. They all passed, and are being rewarded. The sorrow in Huo Yuhao's eyes slowly turned into hope. When will it be my turn? When will it be our turn? I don't want anything else, but to revive Dong, yes. Zhong Lishuan lifted her head to peer into the sky. There was a confused look in her eyes. Love is never a punishment. However, you'll only hurt yourself if you indulge in a love without an outcome. You'll also receive the best reward possible, an opportunity to forget. Go and find your true love. A golden light flashed, and Zhong Lishuan disappeared. Ning Tian, Wu Feng. Ning Tian and Wu Feng were standing side by side right now. They lifted their heads to look into the sky. Dying for love and walking away from the pain. The two of you have passed your sincerity adventure rounds. The reward that you are going to get is going to be quite heavy, thus the two of you will share one reward. This reward will solve all your problems. Ning Tian, you'll be a man from today onward. Go. Two beams of golden light shone at the same. Ning Tian and Wu Feng were shocked as they looked at each other before they were taken away. Ning Tian's familial pressure would be greatly alleviated if she were a man. In addition, the dilemma that she and Wu Feng faced in their relationship could also be resolved. After going through the 3 rounds, this was what she wanted too. Changing her gender was indeed the best way to solve the root of their problems. Bei Bei. If I'm going to get a reward, I want Xiao Ya. Bei Bei said eagerly. You barely passed your sincerity adventure round, as your lover isn't around. This was also the reason why it was easier for you to pass. You've already received your reward. Remember, there are clues in everything you've seen. You'll have 3 opportunities to release the final glow to inquire of other people. Go. Before Bei Bei could say anything, a golden light flashed, and he was dragged away and vanished. Everyone's situation was indeed different. At this point, the only people left were He Kai-tu, Xiao Xiao, Huo Yuhao, Wang Chua, and Wang Donga. Huo Yuhao pursed his lips tightly, and felt his forehead swelling. There were even some bloodstains on his forehead. Considering how strong his body was, he must have kowtowed strongly. The voice echoed again, but it didn't call Huo Yuhao and Wang Donga. He Kai-tu, Xiao Xiao. He Kai-tu and Xiao Xiao looked into the sky at the same time. Xiao Xiao was holding onto He Kai-tu's arm. Even though they knew that they weren't going to be punished, Dorma's death still left them very tense. In this valley, they simply could not control their own destiny. Revealing your true feelings in the face of a crisis. He Kai-tu, the release of the knot in your heart is your reward. Are you content? He Kai-tu nodded forcefully and replied, I am. However, can you revive Donga? The voice seemed to ignore his request. Xiao Xiao, you used your love to untie the knot in your lover's heart. You deserve to be rewarded. He Kai-tu, reveal your original appearance as Shu He. This will be the greatest reward for Xiao Xiao. At the same time, Xiao Xiao's soul power will be increased to rank 60. A beam of golden light descended from the sky and engulfed both of their bodies. He Kai-tu's appearance started to transform strangely. As his face contorted, he slowly turned into someone else. His skin was still tan, and he was still bald. However, he now had bushy eyebrows and huge eyes, and his overall look was very charming. This was the true He Kai-tu. He was actually Shu He, but he had used a secret technique of the previous dynasty to alter his appearance. Xiao Xiao was in a daze as she looked at He Kai-tu. She was a little stunned and asked, so you are actually this handsome? He Kai-tu laughed bitterly. In fact, I'd already forgotten how I looked. Since the knot in my heart has been untied, then let me regain my own appearance. It no longer matters if I'm recognized. I'll be me, and I'm Shu He. However, I'll always be your He Kai-tu too. Xiao Xiao, I promise you that I won't hide anything from you from today on. Okay. Xiao Xiao nodded, but she was still a little worried when she looked at Huo Yuhao and Wang Donga. Among Shrek's 7 monsters, she shared the best relationship with Wang Donga. They had grown up together, and had been together ever since they entered Shrek Academy. They had gone through too many things together. She wasn't any less sad than Huo Yuhao over Wang Donga's death. Right now, she was still very. However, both she and He Kai-tu vanished as golden lights flashed, before she managed to make any requests. At this point, only Huo Yuhao, Wang Donga, and Wang Chua were left in this place. Wang Kia was still a little stunned. Her eyes were lifeless, as if she had lost her spirit. Huo Yuhao's forehead was bruised, and he was shuddering slightly. This was a testament to how tense he felt right now. Huo Yuhao, Wang Donga, Wang Chua. Your 3 fates are closely interlinked. However, True love is always mutual, and it can only be between two parties. That's why only two of you can get together eventually. Wang Dong'er is already dead. Huo Yuhao, are you willing to give your love to Wang Qiu'er and love her properly in the future? No, I'm not. I only want Dong'er to be revived. Please revive Dong'er. No matter what you do to me, I hope you can revive Dong'er. Huo Yuhao's voice was still trembling. He was sobbing heavily, and tears flowed down his face uncontrollably. The death of one person is a win-win situation for all three of you. At least one person will be spared the pain. Isn't this good? Don't be obstinate. The indifferent voice sounded a little angry. No, it's not good at all. I only want Dong'er, and I only love her. If you are unwilling to revive her, then kill me too. Even if I go to another world, I want to be with her. I don't ever want to separate from her. Huo Yuhao hugged Wang Dong'er tightly and stuck his face close to hers. He already seemed to be very dazed as his tears fell onto Wang Dong'er's cheeks. At this point, the fear and sorrow in his heart slowly diminished. If Wang Dong'er was dead, he would choose to die. If Wang Dong'er was alive, he would remain alive. While this yin-yang love-querying valley could decide a person's fate, there wasn't much for him to be worried about after Wang Dong'er's death, since his heart had already died with her. Wang Qiu'er suddenly lifted her head and shouted, I'm the one who should be dead. Let me die in exchange for Dong'er's life. In this way, they can be together. I shouldn't have appeared in their lives. I affected them. Just let me die. Let me die. The indifferent voice went silent. It seemed to be thinking, or rather, hesitating. Huo Yuhao lifted his head to look at Wang Qiu'er. He took in a deep breath and shook his head slightly. He said, No, Qiu'er, you didn't do anything wrong. You never did anything wrong at all. I was the one in the wrong. I hurt both you and Dong'er. Now that things have come to this stage, you must live well. Yin-yang love querying valley, does it mean that we are all entitled to a reward since we've reached this stage? That's right. However, the dead person will not be rewarded. The yin-yang love querying valley answered. Huo Yuhao nodded and said, All right. I shall not plead for you to revive Dong'er. Instead, I hope that you can make Qiu'er forget me and everything that happened between the three of us. Can you do that? After that, let us leave this place. Forgetting everything might be a good thing at times. However, are you willing, Wang Qiu'er? Wang Qiu'er shook her head with strength and replied, No, I don't want to forget. I would rather bear this pain than forget this experience. This is the most painful yet unforgettable memory of my life. Whether I'm dead or alive, I want to preserve this memory. Don't take it away. There will never be happiness in a love triangle. All right, I'll grant both of your wishes, since this is the case. A beam of golden light descended from the sky and shone on Wang Qiu'er's body first. In the next moment, she had already vanished. Following this, another beam of white light shone on Wang Dong'er's body. Huo Yuhao could clearly sense the warmth from this beam of white light. Wang Dong'er sacrificed herself for love. Her utterly fearless spirit is commendable. I'll revive her. However, you must remember today's lesson and hold fast to your words, Huo Yuhao. Otherwise, you'll face tougher tests in the future. You'll need to be even tougher than this. Do you understand? After hearing that the love-querying valley was willing to revive Dong'er, Huo Yuhao was suddenly full of energy. He started to become very excited, and nodded his head desperately. His tears immediately stopped flowing. Death is sometimes not scary. The path that you're going to take is destined to be tough. Do your best. Wang Dong'er's rigid body slowly became softer. Her complexion slowly regained its color too, and her chest also started to rise and fall. Her life energy was restored under the nourishment of that beam of white light. Huo Yuhao only felt that he had never felt so weak before. Wang Dong'er's death to her resurrection tortured him more than the 3 tests he had had to go through earlier. Seeing that Wang Dong'er was slowly recovering, he hugged her body as if he were holding a treasure. He was choking with his sobs. After a brief moment, Wang Dong'er's breathing became normal again, and her face regained its rosy color. Alive, my Dong'er is alive. Huo Yuhao finally smiled. At this moment, he only felt that Wang Dong'er was the most beautiful thing in this world. The indifferent voice suddenly sighed. At this moment, it seemed to become slightly more emotional. Huo Yuhao had been in a very tense state for a long time. After hearing this sigh, he reacted quickly and blurted out, "What's wrong?" "There's a problem with Wang Dong's resurrection." The voice sounded even more helpless. "Problem? What problem?" Huo Yuhao's voice instantly became a lot sharper. He hugged Wang Dong even tighter, not willing to let go at all. "I have gathered her life energy, but it's still flowing away by itself, as if she's lost her spirit. However, I've already reassembled her spirit. This problem should stem from her own body, except it's been triggered by what she just went through. That's not something that I can deal with, so you'll have to think of another solution to sustain her life." Huo Yuhao had just received hope when these words fell into his ears and struck him like thunderbolts. Huo Yuhao felt like he was going insane. Calm down, calm down. I have to be calm." At a time like this, Huo Yuhao's training as an ultimate soldier came into effect. At least, Wang Dong was breathing, and there was life energy in her body. This meant that she was alive, and as long as Wang Dong was still alive, Huo Yuhao wouldn't be as disoriented and panicky like he was before. The Yin-Yang Life Querying Valley's mysterious entity mentioned that Wang Dong is experiencing this because of issues that originate from herself. But what's wrong with her body? A thought occurred to Huo Yuhao as he contemplated this issue. He suddenly recalled the secret letter that the Clear Sky sect leader, Niu Qian, and Tai Tan had given to him. Wang Dong mentioned afterwards that the contents of their letter were made up, and everything was meant to test him. However, if Dong's body is having its own problems, can it be? With this thought in his head, Huo Yuhao immediately retrieved the storage-type soul tool from Wang Dong's pockets that he had given her some time ago without any hesitation at all, and retrieved the yearning heartbroken grass that possessed mystical and miraculous powers. This herb had pristine white petals, and blood threaded through each one. This was the immortal herb that Huo Yuhao had almost paid his life to retrieve. A long time had passed, but this herb was still fresh, pristine, and filled with the energy of life. The yearning heartbroken grass had miraculous medicinal effects, and it could save any person's life as long as that person was still breathing. Yes, this herb will definitely save Dong. Huo Yuhao no longer hesitated as his thoughts stopped here, and he carefully placed the herb next to Wang Dong's lips. But he quickly realized that there was no way Wang Dong could eat this medicinal herb. With hope in his heart, Huo Yuhao's mind was especially agile and flexible. He instantly stuffed the herb into his mouth without any hesitation at all, and chewed it up into juice with a few chomps as he sealed his own throat. He wasn't about to let a single drop flow down his throat, and he lowered his head as he carefully poured the juice into Wang Dong's mouth. The yearning heartbroken grass was a little bitter, but there seemed to be a tinge of sweetness amidst that bitterness. Love was the same, bitterness and sweetness would always exist at the same time. Dong's lips were warm and tender, and kissing her was indescribably mesmerizing. Huo Yuhao carefully parted her rosy lips, and allowed every single drop of the herbal juice in his mouth to flow into hers. Huo Yuhao stared nervously at Wang Dong after he was done. He believed that what he had done was right, but how could he be confident of success before Dong was revived? Wang Dong's illness was something that not even the mysterious Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley could treat. Time continued to pass, and Dong's pretty face was still ruddy, looking very delicate and charming. Huo Yuhao had gently closed her beautiful eyes, and she seemed like a sleeping beauty laying in a deep slumber. Huo Yuhao was starting to feel threads of anxiety building up in his heart, when a faint aroma finally wafted up from Wang Dong's body. This aroma was very faint and plain, but it was exceptionally fragrant and refreshing. A vague layer of light could be seen circulating beneath Wang Dong's skin, and her body slowly began emanating a dense life energy. Did it work? Dong, she, Huo Yuhao looked up at the sky and asked nervously. You gave her a yearning heartbroken grass, didn't you? I didn't expect you to have an immortal herb like that. That mysterious entity seemed to sound a little anxious. Back then, Huo Yuhao couldn't be bothered with whatever else that voice wanted to say, and he hurriedly pressed the issue. Is she all right? The voice seemed a little dissatisfied, because Huo Yuhao had interrupted it. It answered plainly, she's full of life energy, so her condition is stable. However, her spirit is still messy and disorganized, and this condition isn't something that external forces can treat. She has to adjust her spirit by herself, so she can wake up. Huo Yuhao was momentarily stunned. What do you mean? She will be in a coma indefinitely. I have no idea how long she will remain in this state. She has to rely on her own strength to wake up, and it remains to be seen whether she has it in her to do so. All right, the two of you may leave. I will reward you, Wang Donga, and Wang Chua by raising your soul power by 5 ranks. You may go. No. Wait. Donga shouldn't have to die. This was just your test for her. You should be able to save her. Please let her wake up, let her wake up. Huo Yuhao shouted frantically, but no matter how much he yelled, the mysterious entity didn't entertain him at all. Intense golden light shone down on them and swept him and Wang Donga away as heaven and earth spun around them. Huo Yuhao and Wang Donga disappeared from this mysterious place just like that. Hexagonal light continued to flicker, and some mysterious, magnificent glyphs grew brighter and brighter. Is this what you wanted? Those 2 children are so pitiful. The voice that belonged to the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley's mysterious entity seemed very upset. Another melodious voice could be heard. That's enough. I have my reasons. If they don't experience some winds and rain, I've fulfilled my duty. I'm going back. I'm going to look for your wife for a chat when I get there. Golden light sparkled as Huo Yuhao reappeared with Wang Donga in his arms. When he could see his surroundings clearly, he realized to his surprise that the valley he was in was filled with people. Elder Xian, Xian Lina, and several elders from Shrek Academy, along with everyone else, were all here. There were scars and marks of battle around him. The valley's inner regions had been severely damaged, and it was evident that a great battle had just occurred in this place not too long ago. Elder Xian came to them in a flash when he saw Huo Yuhao appear with Wang Donga in his arms. He lifted his hands, and a thread of gentle soul power supported Huo Yuhao so that he could stand up straight. Everyone's eyes landed on Wang Donga, who was still in Huo Yuhao's embrace, at the same time. The other 5 members of Shrek's 7 monsters gathered around first. Bei Bei asked in grave concern, Yuhao, Donga. Huo Yuhao turned and looked at Bei Bei, and Bei Bei could see his fortitude and perseverance in his eyes. Donga is all right, she's just asleep. I want to take her home, perhaps only the people in her family have any hope of awakening her. I can't return to the academy for now, Elder Xian, Elder Xian placed his hand on Wang Donga's wrist to check her pulse, and a look of pleasant surprise flashed across his eyes. He had just heard from the others that Wang Donga was dead, but it was evident that Wang Donga was very much alive. However, she was in a coma for some reason. Don't be hasty, Yuhao. Tell us what happened. It's better if everyone can brainstorm together to think about how to save her. All right. Huo Yuhao wiped the tears off his face, and recounted everything that he and Wang Donga had gone through after everyone else had left. Everyone exchanged looks with one another as they listened to his story, but they were all a little lost and confused. Their experience in the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley was truly quite an adventure, and everyone went through life and death before they managed to leave this place alive. With Huo Yuhao's initial reminder, nobody told any lies inside the valley. This was how everyone managed to escape unscathed, with the exception of Wang Donga. Elder Xian was the first to come out. He only heard that plain voice once, and it said, "You are too old, so you don't have to go through the sincerity adventure. You don't have any hope for love anymore, so you're allowed to leave." Elder Xian came out, and he coincidentally ran into several evil title Doluo, who were standing guard in this place. The great battle that happened afterwards was inevitable. Evil soul masters were powerful, but Elder Xian was also a formidable individual, and almost an ultimate Doluo. Elder Xian could unleash his full abilities, because he didn't have to protect anyone around him, and he relied on his incredible prowess to force those evil soul masters away. Everyone's faces didn't look so good at this moment. They had each had their own gains from sincerity adventure, but everyone had been taught a lesson, and everyone had been dealt a heavy blow. Wang Donga's current situation worsened everyone's mood. Who could be happy at a time like this? Several elders checked Wang Donga's body one after another, and all they could do was shake their heads repeatedly. Wang Donga's circumstances were just as the Yin-Yang Love Querying Valley's mysterious entity had said. Her body was normal, and she was full of life energy, while her soul power was stronger than before. She was 5 ranks higher than before, putting her above rank 66. However, the problem was in her spiritual sea. There was something very wrong with her spiritual sea. Her spiritual sea was sealed shut, and her spirit seemed to be undulating in a disorderly manner within her spiritual sea. The human brain had always been the most profound and mysterious entity. Not even Elder Xian dared to force his way into Wang Donga's spiritual sea, because her life would truly be lost if something went wrong. Everyone discussed it for a short time before Elder Xian said, we've exited the yin-yang love querying valley. This experience has been very strange and sinister, but at least everyone is safe and sound in the end. We should return to the academy as soon as possible. Yuhao, you'll take care of Donga, and when we enter the Heavenly Soul Empire's borders, you can take her back to the Clear Sky sect so that her family can help treat her. Yes. Huo Yuhao was back inside his human-shaped soul tool at this moment, and could stand up once more. Soul power rippled in his body as well, but the difference between Wang Donga and him was that Huo Yuhao wasn't far from rank 60 now, after being given 5 ranks of soul power. He would become a soul emperor if he made another breakthrough. Huo Yuhao possessed an ultimate martial soul, and an ultimate martial soul's true strength and might could only be seen and realized after rank 70. However, every step to rank 70 was very difficult. Huo Yuhao had acquired many painful memories from his time in the yin-yang love querying valley, but at least he had gotten some rewards in return. This video will end here.